Welcome to another deep dive with us. This time, we're taking a close look at AI regulation. It's
Well,
everywhere you look these days.
it really is.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
It's got incredible potential,
Right.
but we got to make sure it's used responsibly, right?
Absolutely.
That's where our source material comes in. AI regulation, legal and ethical framework for its development and use.
Right.
And it's a fascinating read. It lays out the potential risks and what we need to do moving forward.
It really does.
Yeah.
Like you said, the stakes are high. This isn't just theory we're talking about. This is
Right.
real world stuff.
Yeah.
Jobs, privacy, even how easily misinformation can spread with AI,
Well, let's dive into some of the specifics from the source.
Sure.
I was really amazed by how far AI has come.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it can actually predict extreme weather events now
Wow.
with crazy accuracy by just analyzing massive data sets.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Really shows the potential, but
Yeah.
like the source says, it's uncharted territory.
Mm-hmm.
We've built this powerful engine,
Yeah,
but we're still figuring out how to steer it.
that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
One thing that really stood out to me was
Yeah.
algorithmic bias.
Right.
AI systems can unintentionally, even with the best intentions, perpetuate existing inequalities if they're trained on data that's already biased.
Absolutely.
It's a bit scary when you think about it,
Yeah.
especially for things like AI hiring tools. Like, how can we make sure those are truly fair?
It's a huge challenge, and the source really digs into that.
Okay.
How bias can creep into the data without anyone even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just snowballs from there.
Right.
Impacts everything, loan approvals, even the justice system.
It's like almost like teaching a kid with a textbook that's way outdated.
Exactly.
They're going to come out with outdated information.
Exactly. We need more transparency
Mm-hmm.
with these algorithms.
Yeah.
Got to understand how they're making these decisions, what data they're using.
Absolutely. Another big one that the source brought up was the impact of AI on jobs.
Right.
Millions of jobs could be displaced.
Yeah, it's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And the source acknowledges that.
Uh-huh.
But it also points out that whenever we have these tech shifts,
Right.
we see new job opportunities emerge too.
Okay, so it's less about jobs just disappearing
Right.
and more about jobs transforming.
Exactly. It's about adapting, learning new skills.
Mhm.
The challenge is getting people ready for that.
And anticipating those shifts, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Governments and educational institutions,
Yeah.
they have a huge role to play, the source argues.
Now, this one really blew my mind. Deepfakes.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea how realistic they've become.
It's pretty wild.
The source explained how AI can be used to create these fake videos that look totally real. And the implications for that are huge.
They are.
Like spreading misinformation or ruining someone's reputation.
It's a real concern, and
Yeah.
it's tricky. The source suggests we might need totally new legal frameworks
Okay.
just to deal with deepfakes.
Wow. It's almost like we're in a Wild West situation.
It kind of is, yeah.
You've got this amazing tech, but
Yeah.
huge potential for misuse. So what's happening globally to regulate it?
It's a mixed bag, as you can imagine.
Okay.
The source goes into detail about a few different approaches.
Mm-hmm.
The EU's AI Act being probably the most comprehensive so far.
And what's their approach?
They've gone for a risk-based system.
Okay.
So they categorize AI applications based on how much impact they could have.
Okay.
So high-risk applications like in healthcare or law enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
they face much stricter rules than something like, say, a spam filter.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you wouldn't regulate a toy robot the same way you would a surgical robot, right?
Right, right.
It's about finding that balance, encouraging progress,
Mm-hmm.
but making sure it benefits society.
What about the rest of the world?
Yeah, the source mentions the OECD guidelines. These are more like recommendations, for ethical development,
Okay.
focusing on things like transparency, accountability, human-centered design.
So sort of like setting international standards.
Exactly. Getting everyone on the same page.
And how about the US and China?
Oh, that's interesting.
They're usually on opposite sides when it comes to tech.
They are, and the source reflects that the U.S. is taking a more piecemeal approach right now,
Okay.
focusing on things like data privacy
Mm-hmm.
and algorithmic bias, but no single AI law.
So more reactive than proactive.
You could say that, though there's definitely movement towards something more comprehensive.
In China.
China's taking a much more, I guess you could say, top-down approach. Government's very involved.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a national AI strategy,
Yeah.
investing heavily in research and development.
So complete opposites.
Pretty much, yeah.
Should be interesting to see how that all plays out.
It really will.
It's like a global race, you know?
Kinda, yeah.
to figure out how to manage this incredible technology.
Mm-hmm. And the source makes a really good point
Yeah.
about finding that right balance.
Okay.
We need rules,
Huh.
sure,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't want to stop innovation from happening either.
Right, right.
It's a tough one.
How do we find that sweet spot then?
Well, it's not just about restrictions.
Okay.
The source actually talks about using incentives, too,
Oh, interesting.
to push for AI that helps society.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine tax breaks for companies working on projects that tackle big problems, you know?
So reward the good instead of just
Yeah.
punishing the bad.
Exactly. Make ethics a core part of the business, not just something they tack on later.
What about us, though?
Mm.
Regular people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Do we have any say in how this all gets regulated?
The source is very clear on that.
Okay.
Public participation is crucial.
It's got to be more than just
Yeah.
tech experts and politicians making all the decisions.
Exactly. The source even suggests things like public forums, education initiatives, to help people understand what's at stake.
We've focused a lot on the risks,
Right.
but AI has the potential for good too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what are some of the examples from the source?
Well, one area that's really promising is climate change.
Okay.
AI can analyze tons of data
Yeah.
to help us understand climate patterns
Okay.
way better than we ever could before.
Mm-hmm.
And that could mean better predictions
Oh, interesting.
for things like extreme weather.
Which feels more and more important, right?
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The source also mentions optimizing energy consumption,
Mm-hmm.
reducing our reliance on fossil fuels.
Wow.
That's huge.
huge. What else is there?
The source was really enthusiastic about revolutionizing education.
Oh, yeah. What does that look like?
Well, personalized learning, for one.
Okay.
Imagine every student has their own AI tutor,
Oh, wow.
adapts to how they learn best,
That's amazing.
right? Helping them reach their full potential.
It could also help with educational inequalities, right?
Absolutely. Providing access to resources for everyone.
So translating lessons, adapting for disabilities.
Exactly. It's about leveling the playing field.
It seems like to get to that,
Yeah.
we need responsible development
We do.
and careful regulation, right?
The source puts it really well, actually. We're at a crossroads, it says.
Mm-hmm.
This tech could change everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the choices we make now determine whether it's for good or for bad.
So it's not like a guaranteed dystopian future.
Not at all.
We still have control.
Exactly. We're shaping the future right now.
And that's a pretty good feeling, actually.
It is.
To have that agency.
The more we understand,
Yeah.
the more we're involved,
Mm-hmm.
the better equipped we are to make sure AI is used for the right reasons.
It's crazy. We've talked about so much.
I know, right?
But it feels like we've only scratched the surface.
Yeah, AI is a deep rabbit hole.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it changes so fast, too.
Constantly evolving.
So this conversation about responsible AI,
Mm-hmm.
it's more important than ever.
It really is.
We can't just ignore it.
Nope.
So what do you think are the most important next steps?
Well, the source is pretty clear.
Okay.
It all comes down to collaboration,
Okay.
not just governments regulating
Mm-hmm.
or tech companies developing ethically.
Right.
We need everyone.
Okay.
Researchers, ethicists,
Mm-hmm.
even the public needs to be involved.
It's like a giant puzzle.
It is,
Everyone has a piece.
The source even talks about
Yeah.
creating specific groups
Okay.
to bring everyone together.
Interesting.
Like, imagine a global AI ethics council
Wow.
with people from all these different fields.
So they can make sure AI development is actually, like,
Yeah.
aligned with human values.
Exactly. And the source also talks about
Yeah.
shifting our focus a bit.
Okay.
It's not just about mitigating risks.
Mm-hmm.
It's about maximizing benefits, too.
What do you mean?
Well, thinking about how we can use AI to really tackle those big problems,
Mm-hmm.
like to make the world better, fairer,
I like that.
instead of just preventing the bad stuff.
So regulation is important.
Mm-hmm.
Collaboration is key.
Yeah,
And AI has the potential to really help society.
it does.
But what can our listeners do?
Well, first off,
Yeah.
just stay informed.
Okay.
There's so much information out there,
Yeah.
books, articles, other podcasts. Even the more you know, the better.
And don't be afraid to. Like,
Yeah.
speak up about it.
That's
Tell
okay.
your friends, family,
Mm-hmm.
your elected officials
Right.
if you're concerned.
And you have a choice
Oh, yeah.
in how AI is used in your own life.
Okay.
Pay attention to what companies are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Support the ones doing it right.
So even small things can make a difference.
They really can.
This deep dive has been amazing.
It has.
And like you said, it feels like the start of a much bigger conversation.
It is. AI is not going anywhere.
It's only going to become more important.
So, to our listeners,
Yeah.
stay curious.
Mm-hmm.
Keep asking questions.
Yeah.
The future of AI, it's in our hands.
I like that. Well, that's about all the time we have for today.
It was a great discussion.
It was. And thanks to our listeners for joining us on another deep dive.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.